They disobeyed
Or did
the
they
law.
feel included?
They disobeyed a law.
They were fired.
They were fired because they disobeyed
Do you
the
regret
law.
that? Do you regret that?
Currently existed. I have no regrets.
You have
whatsoever.
recruitment challenges. You
You know what,
refuse
Senator?
to.
You know how many actually decided to come back to the Navy in
How
the
many?
airport? 2.
Shocker. Do you believe that climate change is a bigger threat to the American people than Communist China's ambitions?
They're different.
Today we start with Senator Eric Schmitt from Missouri, questioning Carlos Del Toro, who is the Secretary of the Navy. Schmitt is questioning him about low recruiting numbers in the military in general, but specifically to the Navy. He asked if DEI has played any role, to which Del Toro says of course not, which you would probably expect him to say. But then he asked about all of the people who were fired for not taking the COVID-19 shot. And instead of just admitting that they might have made a mistake, in typical DC fashion, he doubled down and made them out to be the bad guys, claiming that they contacted a large percentage of the people who were let go and that only 2 of them wanted to come back. In my opinion, what this interaction highlights is that the government will impose a regulation, a mandate, or a law on the populace, and then when it becomes very clear that it had a negative effect on the population, whoever's in charge will either then deny the existence of the problem or will just say, oops, sorry about that. And in some cases like this, they'll turn it around and try and somehow make it out to be like you were doing something bad when these people just got fired for not getting a shot. So once again, another example of we're from the government and we're here to help.
I have a question. So do you believe, recruiting is down 20% last year?
Military faces a recruiting crisis, with 3 of the 5 branches failing to meet their manpower goals this year. Big bonuses, loosened enlistment requirements, and new advertising slogans did not push the services out of their slumps.
So far, it's on pace. It's down 30% this year. Do you believe that the obsession that the political leadership has right now with DEI has helped or hurt recruiting efforts?
No, sir. I don't think DEI has hurt recruiting efforts at all.
You don't?
No, sir.
You don't think it plays any factor at all?
No, sir.
You don't think your obsession with race essentialism and immutable characteristics turns off a lot of people?
I'm not obsessed with any of that, Senator. When have you, on the record, heard me say anything to that effect?
Well, no, it's in your materials.
What
Your
materials?
DEI 101 materials and the indoctrination that you're putting through this cultural Marxism. You don't believe that it has
I'm not
any impact?
indoctrinating anybody,
Okay.
Senator.
Secretary, I want to read to you from your materials what allyship is. Allyship is to take intentional actions such as listening, learning, and uplifting those who may be disadvantaged to ensure all voices are heard and respected. Being an authentic ally is to form genuine relationships, to advocate for fair treatment, and increase feelings of inclusion and belonging for all. Do you believe
Don't
that
you want all the members of your team to feel like they're included?
Well, I have a question. Do you believe that you were an ally for the 1,878 soldiers who were fired, or the 3,746 Marines who were fired for not taking the COVID shot? Were you an ally for them?
Sir, I followed the laws. They disobeyed
Or did
the
they
law.
feel included?
They disobeyed a law.
They were fired.
They were fired because they disobeyed
Do you
the
regret
law.
that? Do you regret that?
Currently existed. I have no regrets.
You have
whatsoever.
recruitment challenges. You
know what,
refuse
Senator?
to admit that DEI is a part of this. You're firing qualified people who are well trained, and you sit here so smugly to act like none of that has any impact on the readiness of our Navy.
Senator, we recontacted 3,500 of the 4,800 people who were fired. You know how many actually decided to come back to the Navy in
How
the
many?
airport? 2.
Shocker.
2.
Shocker at the level of disrespect they receive from their government.
Because they didn't want to
Excuse
serve in
me.
the Navy?
Excuse me,
Shocker.
gentleman, Senator.
Not because they didn't
Senator,
want to take the COVID test.
please
Disgusting.
ask a question and
Yeah,
Mr. Secretary
thank you.
respond.
General Smith, I understand that on May 3rd, 2 individuals were detained by gate guards after lying to gate guards and then trying to forcibly bypass security checks. Now anonymous sources are reporting that one of the detained individuals was a Jordanian national who recently crossed the U.S. southern border. Also, one of the 2 is on the terror watch list. What do you know? What have you been briefed by ICE on this?
Senator, I'm not familiar with that. I can get back to you on it after I check with NCIS.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator Smith. Senator
Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Manchin.
I do have one more question before we, thank you.
That's
I have some time remaining. I do want to, Secretary Del Toro, I do want to understand, based on your previous conversations, I really do have to get you on the record. Do you believe that climate change is a bigger threat to the American people than Communist China's ambitions?
They're different.
No, but I'm asking you to weigh them. We all make decisions. We're weighing
I'm not
them.
going to weigh them. One impacts the other.
So
in
you
different
can't
ways.
sit here and tell us that Chinese communist ambitions are more dangerous to the American people
I
than
don't
you.
think you've been following all the things that I've been doing since day
I'm
one. to
asking
deter-
you a
Excuse me,
question.
Senator
How to deter
Schmitt,
China?
excuse me.
I'm asking you a
If
question.
you ask the question, the secretary will respond, and then I think you yield your time, and
I just have a couple more seconds because I had about a minute and a half left.
This is not an argument, it's a question and answer.
That's fine. I'm asking a question. Do you believe that climate change is a bigger threat to the American people than a nuclear holocaust?
Of course not.
Okay. Well, thank you for actually being so
Bomb being
courageous.
dropped? I
Thank
mean,
you.
this is
I just have to say that your
embarrassing.
comments about this, hold on, I'm finished. Your comments about this, Teddy Roosevelt and Admiral Nimitz would be rolling in their grave the way that you equivocate on this
No,
stuff.
actually, Admiral Nimitz cared
Mr.
deeply
Secretary.
about installation readiness, actually.
Climate
And
change, he was a big climate alarmist.
It wasn't as big a problem then as it is now.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help.